Welcome, everyone. It's nice to see you. It's nice to have webcams today so we can see everybody. Thank you for coming. It's great to see those of you who are here again. And welcome to those of you visiting us for the very first time. Today's webinar is brought to you by MCSC Women's Business Center. See if I need to let anyone else in. There we go. We are a nonprofit business center serving entrepreneurs in SLO, Kern, and Monterey counties. We offer no-cost one-on-one business consulting with professionals in finance, marketing, e-commerce, and management. We also offer consulting on COVID-19 resources and reopening requirements. Our contact information is on the screen, and I will put it in the chat box in a little bit. I would like to thank Stacy Aragon for presenting today. I am not sharing my screen with you guys. Let me see if I can do that. There she is. Okay, so Stacy has a BS in Business Administration with a concentration in entrepreneurship from Cal Poly. She's passionate about helping entrepreneurs who have the heart and perseverance to pursue their dreams. Stacy has knowledge in all aspects of business, from strategic planning, marketing, finance, HR, organizational behavior, and organizational development. We're thrilled she's here. She's generated some worksheets for you, which I did email you the other day. And also, if you just signed in, you should have access to those. If not, please let me know in the chat box. So let me let more people in. All right. So I just wanted to remind you, please limit your distractions and mute your phone. We will be taking questions in the chat box, and we'll be asking you to participate today. So just be ready to do that through the chat box. Please make sure that when you respond, you're responding to the whole group. The webinar is being recorded, and a link will be provided to you after it's processed. So we do have a quick poll just to find out how you guys heard about us. So I'm going to launch that now. If you could take 30 seconds to complete that, that would be great. Okay, it looks like it's half and half between Facebook and the newsletter. Okay, thanks so much for doing that. So with no further ado, I will now give you Stacy.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I've been up since 5, so I'm a little bit chattery and jittery from all the coffee I've been drinking today. Like Barb said, I am a business consultant with the Women's Business Center. I've been working with the Women's Business Center for about 4 years in different capacities. So if you would like to meet with me on Canva, designing prints, marketing, business operations and structure, content pitch, brand building, etc., I'm happy to meet with you. Like she said, I love working with entrepreneurs and helping them find their niche and really being able to display and communicate what they do to other people and primarily their customers. So this is Design Beyond the Box with Canva. So it's a part 2 webinar. It's intermediate to advanced, so you should already have Canva ready to go. It's a 2-hour presentation. So if at any point in time you have to drop off, no worries. Barb is recording this whole session and it'll be available to you shortly after. We do have some handouts for you. Those are just supplemental handouts that you can work on your own time. It'll help you understand a little bit more about your business and branding, etc. So the format of this presentation is gonna go as follows. We are gonna go through the psychology of font, colors, and imagery. Then we will move on to Canva Pro features. So I'm really focusing on Canva Pro and utilizing those features. Even with those features, there are some limitations and some workarounds that I've had to learn through trial and error, and that's what I will be sharing with you today. After we go through those features, from Canva Pro, we will be diving into a demo, which is primarily visual and audio. If you have the capability to watch and design with me, I would highly recommend that. Otherwise, sit back and relax. And then the last thing we're gonna cover is the overview of tips and workarounds that we used throughout the demo. So there will be time for questions, especially throughout the demo, and we will discuss that a little bit later. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with you now. And we're just going to review a little bit about what we talked about in the last webinar. We spent a little bit of time talking about branding and the importance of creating a strong and unique presence, brand awareness, creating brand loyalty by being consistent and investing in your brand up front, taking the time to understand your brand and your company, and being able to associate the feelings and emotions you want your customers and consumers to have with your brand. We also talked about being simple and clear. You're able to be unique within your brand, but you can also keep it, again, simple and clear. So now we're gonna go in a little bit to, about the psychology of font and colors and imagery. We brushed on it last time of how important it is to be intentional in your ads, whether it's on social media or print, or even if you have a commercial. But specifically for social media posts and print, like flyers and advertisements, it's very, very important to utilize things like fonts, colors, and imagery, because you have to paint that story. We keep saying that consumers will look at your ads and your business brochures and things like that for an average of 10 seconds. So you have less time to make an impression and an emotional impact with a print ad or a social media ad than you would with a video or a commercial. And that within itself is super important. So you want to be clear the importance of making an impact to your consumer. So the whole objective here is to do some storytelling, and also to make sure that you are making the appropriate emotional impact, emotional response, because we are emotional buyers, and the way you get our vote is through the story that you tell. So just as an example, I'm sharing my screen. You should be able to see it. I have a print ad that says 10 seconds and the actual ad for Tide, the commercial. So we're gonna go ahead and watch that commercial video real quick. I gotta double click to interact here.
Although just 4'8", Simone Biles.
So,
Despite her size, Simone is packed with power. Refined, concentrated power. That's why she trusts Tide Pods. She knows small can be powerful. Tide, #1 rating.
all right, just making sure my computer is fast enough to handle all of this at once. Let me go ahead and scroll down. So that was all of 30 seconds. And it was short, it was sweet, it was very impactful. It gave you imagery as well as context and emotion. It did a fabulous job of packing in that message in such a short period of time. And likewise, they do the same with their print ad. 10 seconds, an average of 10 seconds, and it reads, small but powerful, that's my beauty. When something so small delivers so much, the results are beautiful. Standing 4 feet 8 inches tall, Simone Biles is like Tide Pods, small but powerful. So in this ad, you can see how they have utilized simple, a clear message. They've utilized different fonts to give you that unique feeling, especially if you see here, My Beauty is a different font and My Black is Beautiful. Those are all fonts that create emotion and create impact. And even though we can't actually see or visualize a video context in that sense, they already give us this picture perfect, readily delivered context by putting Simone in the picture, even to the smallest detail of what she's wearing, Nike, you know, that really speaks to her and her determination and her small but mightiness, but also reels in that same message, that same message about Tide Pods as well. So they've utilized color, they've utilized other brands, they've also utilized text here and context, imagery, all of this, all of the colors, everything on this is so well composed and put together, very fluid, easy to read and easy to see. And that's what I want to draw your attention to, the power of storytelling within a Facebook or social media post that doesn't have the option for video. Obviously now in this day and age, it's changing and you can do Facebook posts that are videos. If you have that ability and bandwidth to do that, well, then do it. If not, let's stick to the print first and the social media posts first. Anyways, moving on. So the psychology of font, the psychology of color and imagery is all what we're gonna go through, and I can sit here for hours on end telling you about all the research I did and all of the research that backs up the psychology behind marketing. But you know what? I think what's more impactful is if we go ahead and do some primary research ourselves and actually understand how we feel about certain text, how we feel about certain colors or images, and just really becoming in tune with what you're feeling about text or fonts, images and colors, and then understanding that your feeling and your customer's feeling all have to come into consideration, because at the end of the day, it's what your customer thinks your business is and not what you think your business is. So we're gonna go on to the psychology of font. Let me just minimize this a little bit here. So people have different associations and emotional responses with different fonts. So understanding and utilizing this to your advantage as a business person is the psychology of font. So the 2 tips I have for you today is number 1, discover the types of emotions, reactions, and associations you want people to associate with your brand. And number 2, sample your fonts with your customers. This could be as easy and quick as a poll on Facebook, or you could send some to your friends and see what they like and what they think. And then find at least 3 fonts that make your customer feel the way you want them to feel when they read or visualize your brand. So this part of the webinar is a little more interactive. We do have the chat box available. The question here is, which font gives a sense of trust, stability, integrity, and justice? And I've given you 3 choices down here. If you could type in your answer, I'll give you about 30 seconds to come up with your answer, and then we'll talk about it from there. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of B's, and this is basically to demonstrate to you that generally speaking, when we're talking about fonts, although people have different perspectives and different associations with different fonts, there's generally a consensus, right? And so the more you know your customer and the more you know the impact of the font on your customer, the more in control you are about the message you're spreading about your brand. So
Casey,
yes.
I would just like to add that A got a very strong showing as well.
Yeah.
And there's some similarities between them. C was kind of an outlier, but it's interesting to see.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting to see. Okay, I have a couple of more. So here's the next one. I've actually pulled this one right off of Canva's Facebook because I thought this was the perfect example, and I like to see your responses, but also so many people who responded on their Facebook as well. So which font gives a sense of organic, trustworthy, and clean? And we'll give you 30 seconds for that one too. All right, Barb, I need your help on this one.
So E, E came out ahead. D was a close second.
Okay, that's
A and B didn't get any votes.
there you go. And there you go. And it's another clear example of that consensus that you get. So understand your customer, know how it impacts them and what they feel is more fitting for your business. I did look at a bunch of comments on Facebook and I saw that a lot were E as well. So great. We have one more, I believe. Okay, so which font gives a sense of early years, elementary learning, and fun? So this would be the font that a school teacher uses. All right, so I see a lot of A. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
A few B's, no C's.
Right, exactly. And see, there's no right answer, honestly. My thoughts were different than the actual results. And so we're learning about it as we go. The psychology of fonts. You can research it on Google. Canva's got some great articles on there. You can let me know if you want a specific article or need help researching on it. I would love to help you with that. But we're gonna go ahead and move on to the psychology of color. And I don't have any chat participating parts for this one. Just look at the color coded chart and understand all of the feelings that come with each color. So things that really stood out to me are Lego, exciting, and let's see what else really stood out to me. I think it was Intel, the blue, and the content and control and rescue. Yeah, it's just amazing to see what types of emotions are categorized between each color. And I think the best example for me to understand this are twofold. So purple with calm and deep and stimulated, purple lavender, that's really what gets me. And then red is bold and powerful and just passionate. So those are the two that really just stick out to me as well. So people also associate color with emotion, obviously, and it may be a little different from others. So just as in the first examples we had with fonts, it could vary. And so I will always suggest talk to your customers and see what they prefer and what message is relaying to them. Moving on to the psychology of imagery. So context is everything in print, especially because you don't have that ability to really explain verbally what you're trying to say. It's just like text. Sometimes you text someone and it's misconstrued and it causes contention, or it causes something different than what you were hoping for. So context in print is very important as well. I do have a chat box interactive piece to this one. So context is everything in print. Which image leaves you feeling adventurous? A on the left, B on the right. And I'll give you guys 30 seconds. There we go. And so with imagery, it's really easy to see how it affects our minds and how we're emotionally connected and tied to each of these images. It's a lot easier knowing about what types of impact it makes you feel when you're looking at a picture than it is when you're just looking at a solid color. But they all work together interdependently. And so with images, it's very clear that this is how you're gonna build your context within your print or within your social media posting. So I believe I have one more example here. Which image leaves you feeling at peace? A is on the left, B is on the right, 30 seconds. All right, Barb, I think I need your input on this.
So A was the winner, but B was a close second.
Which is also interesting because I did put these two images and gave you some variety here, because we're talking about scenery and then we're talking about different objects. So it's not just scenery that you can play around with, it's objects and things that you actually use that put you at peace. For me, I would say B is mine. It keeps me at peace, but I also love the scenery of A. So you can play around with those different elements of imagery that you can use for your print. And that is basically what I wanted to cover in the psychology part of the webinar. So I have more exercises like this in the handouts for you to do on your own time that implement how you feel with different texts and how you want your business to feel, or how you want your customers to feel about your business. So even just writing it down, whether it changes or not, is the first step. It's very important to know first what you want and then figure out how to get that across to your customers in the language that they prefer to speak in. The next part of the webinar is gonna go through Canva Pro features, I'm sorry. And so I'm gonna go back to home here, and just give me a second. I'm gonna try and move this toolbar down here. There we go. So Canva Pro is the more premium account, and it's a little bit different. It looks exactly the same. There are a few things that I want to touch on as far as being able to utilize Canva Pro. They will give you a 30-day trial if you're not sure, which is also great because you can do so much in those 30 days to take full advantage of it. So first and foremost with Canva Pro, if you go to the left on this screen, you'll see the brand kit, right? And the brand kit is a place where you can store everything about your brand. So your brand logo, your brand color palette, and then also your brand font. You can use this in Canva, but not to its full extent. So if you want to keep adding different color palettes or different fonts, you will be asked to upgrade. But what this does is when you're actually in design mode and designing your ad or your flyer, whatever it is, it'll save these colors, it'll save these fonts, so you don't have to go to the color palette generator and then back to get the colors and the fonts right. which saves a lot of time and it's very convenient. It's one of the things that I love. The other thing about Canva Pro is all your folders is widely expanded when you have Canva Pro. You're actually able to make a lot more folders than just one or two, which is great, again, for organizing and just being consistent and just easily being able to refer back to your specific designs, whether it's by year or by campaign, what have you. Other things in Canva Pro that are easily shown in the editor mode. I will just go ahead and do that right now and show you there. Just a reminder, when you click on templates, it opens up a bunch of tabs. Just those tabs because it does sufficient amount of energy and your computers take off. So anyways, we're in template mode. On the left, you'll see all of your options here. If we go down to, if we go down to Pro, you will see all of the you will see all of the features of Canva Pro. So the brand kit is what we talked about. There's also Photos Pro. They give you a lot more images, premium images, etc. Magic Resize is one of my favorite things about Canva Pro because you're able to make a template. Let's say you made a Facebook post with that approximate size, but you want to expand it to an email header or an Instagram post, you can do that with Magic Resize, and that's only available on Pro. Elements, also lots of premium illustrations and icons are available on Canva. Animation, templates, so you have a more extensive variety of choices when you have Canva Pro. The other feature that I really enjoy with Canva Pro is the Folders Pro. So while you're designing, you can actually look into your folders like so, and click on one of your folders to look at your other designs to be inspired for another. They don't give you this option with the basic Canva package, unfortunately, but it is nice to have it. And as we continue down the line, we've got uploads, extra storage with Canva Pro, and then also background templates. So all in all, you get a lot more variety. The other two that aren't actually mentioned here is the image, I forget what it's called. You can actually take a photo, and let's say I'm in the photo, and you can cut me out of the photo so the background is completely gone, which is one of my favorites. And then the other is downloading a brand or a post that has a transparent background. So as you can see, our template right now has a white background. I could download it with a transparent background if I wanted it to. But that's also only in Canva Pro. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to get into the demo portion of the presentation. This is basically just visual and audio. Like I said, if you have the ability to do both and create as I'm creating, that's the best way to do it. If not, that's okay. We can answer questions as we go along. When I'm creating in Canva, I like to think of my documents as having layers. So whether it's a flyer or a social media post, which is what we're doing today, I'd like to take it layer by layer. And usually what I do for inspiration is I will Google search any type of flyer. So from the last webinar, I Google searched cupcake flyers and found something, or actually I researched food flyers and found something perfect that I wanted to recreate in Canva for the purpose of cupcakes. This time, you know, I've been up since 5 a.m. I'm a little jittery. I think the perfect Facebook post right now will be coffee. And I think that we're just gonna work on coffee, and I'm just gonna pretend that I am a Starbucks employee doing an ad for them for a specific location, and maybe that'll be the Madonna Starbucks in slow. So here we go.
And special announcement today, Stacy.
Yes.
Double star day at Starbucks. Got it in my email just for those of you who go to Starbucks. Double star day.
Double star day, yeah, Starbucks. Today's the day to be a Starbucks member. So anyways, without further ado, we're gonna dive right in. Like I said, I get a lot of inspiration just from searching different types of templates, and you can do that within Canva, but I like to see a variety of things that are done through Adobe and other platforms. So I already have that picture, so I'm gonna go ahead and scroll down to this front, and here we go. We're going to use this ad as inspiration. I'm gonna go ahead and maximize that by pulling the corners outward. Perfect, and that way I can refer to it as I go. So the first layer for me is going to be the background. We're going to do the picture, the image here, and then we're gonna do this part as well, these triangles here. And then we're gonna stop there for the first layer. And if you have any questions, we'll answer it as soon as we're done. I know this seems very, very simple and elementary, but you know what? We're gonna figure out a way to make it a little bit more intermediate and advanced with adding music and even video if we can. So let's begin. I do have a photo that is already saved in here. It was a perfect one, actually. And before I put that in, I'm gonna go to my left-hand toolbar, go to Elements, and then find Grids. Grids, again, is for photos or videos. And the square grid is actually my favorite because you can manipulate it on all four sides, whether it's by corner or just elongating it. It's easier. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. You could also drag it over. And then I'm going to go back to uploads, and then I'm going to drag it into place here. So there we go. There's our background. And like I mentioned before in the last Canva webinar, when you're done with a particular element, it's best to lock it in place so that when you're trying to select over the element, let's say if I have text on top of this and I just want to select the text, it's actually going to grab all of it. So we're going to go ahead and lock that right where we want it, make sure it's positioned. If I double click it, I can actually position it a little bit more towards what angle I want of the picture. And so I'm going to go ahead and drag it to the left a little bit. There we go. All right, so I'm done with that. I'm gonna lock my element there. So as you can see, I could select it as many times as I want to and click over it. It does not actually select the photo. Next, we're gonna go ahead and refer back and see that we've got a triangle here, a triangle here, and then this, I don't know what shape you call it, but it looks kind of like a star to me. So we're gonna go ahead and work on that. And the best way to do that is go to the left on your Elements tab, and then go to Square. And this is a fascinating thing that I've learned through trial and error with Canva, is that the square, like I said before, is very manipulative. Like you can adjust it from the corners by holding it down and dragging it outward or inward, or the sides. With the other shapes, sometimes you can only do the side angles, and it's just harder to get what you want there. So I've known by experience that squares probably are best bet. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna expand it a little bit more, and then I'm gonna rotate it. Let's see, I'm gonna refer back to what I have here, and it's kind of big here. So I think I'm gonna expand it to the right and drag it out, bring it a little bit more to the corner, readjust as it shows. There we go. And then I'm gonna rotate it again by holding onto this arrow icon. Let's see what I can get here. So there we go. And it's a little bit less in the picture than that. So let's see where I can cut it off here. I think that's pretty good. Before I lock this into place, I like to group the elements together so that they're locked together. So we're gonna do this triangle right here, which is gonna be the exact same thing, a square that we're gonna manipulate. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna click on my square and then Command copy, because I have a MacBook, but if you have a PC, you can also use Control C. Let's see if it works. Sometimes it's a little slow to work, so if all else fails, on the right hand of your edit bar, you'll see the duplicate. And I've duplicated that. And then I'm gonna change the color so I can see where it is. Let's say gray would be nice. I'm gonna move this shape to the back. So if I go to my ribbon toolbar on top, position, and then I'm gonna click on backward. So now it's underneath the first triangle we created, and now we can manipulate it as we see fit. So I have to rotate it. I'm gonna rotate it by holding on to that rotation button there, and then I'm gonna move it in place. Let's see. So I'm going to refer back to our photo, and it doesn't quite hit there at the top edge with the corner. So I'm going to leave that and then bring it a little bit and drag it a little bit upwards, rotate it a little bit. Takes a little bit of playing around with until you're actually happy. And I think that's actually pretty good. If I have my star here, we can move it later if it's not exactly perfect. So I've got what I think is right proportionately. I'm going to group the objects by selecting one object, holding the shift key down and selecting the other. And on your top ribbon edit bar, you'll see group. We're gonna group those together. And before I lock it, I'm gonna go ahead and copy so that I can do the bottom corner. So I'm gonna use the duplicate button on the edit bar up top. And there we go, we've got a second one. And then obviously we're gonna need to rotate this just a little bit. In theory, this will work. If not, we can readjust. So let's see how far down it comes. I'm gonna refer back to our inspiration here. Okay. So I think what I'm gonna do is, because that didn't work out perfectly, I'm gonna go ahead and ungroup it by clicking ungroup up here at the top and then clicking out of the selection. And then there we go. I'm gonna do this blue triangle first. I'm gonna rotate it to where I see fit. And let's see where the positioning is here. So right above, maybe a quarter of the way up. So maybe a little bit more rotation by holding down that rotation button. So before I play one out so that I can grab it easily. So correct. Let's go ahead and go back up. That's a little bit more. Hey Barb, I'm getting a note of my internet being unstable, so please let me know if at any point my screen cuts out on me.
You got it. I can hear that it's troning just a tad, but it actually hasn't been disruptive for me. If it is disruptive for somebody, could you type in, just chat, put in the chat box if it's a problem for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know my computer, like I said, sometimes it just sounds like it wants to take off. All right, so I got my blue triangle here where I want it to be for now. Now I'm going to move this gray triangle into position as well. And if we refer back to our inspiration, we can see that these stars are on opposite sides. So the butt of the triangle are on opposite sides. So that's what I'm gonna do here. I think I need to rotate this a little bit. I'm gonna hold down on that rotation button until I'm satisfied there. And I think that's actually pretty good. Okay, so now that we have those in place, I'm going to select the triangles up top that are already grouped. I'm gonna lock those so they don't move. And then I'm gonna do the same for the bottom ones. They have not been grouped yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and select the gray triangle behind it, hold my shift key and then select the blue, go up to my edit ribbon up top and hit group, and then lock it into place. So we're almost done with the first layer. We're gonna add those little stars that we have up top here. So we're gonna go to elements, and then we're going to see all shapes and find something similar to this. And I see it already. Okay, I'm just going to click on it so that it appears. And look at that, it's already the same color, but I think I'm gonna make that a different color. I think I'm gonna make it the gray, and we're gonna stick to that. So let's go ahead and resize this. I held down on that corner and then dragged it inward to resize it. And I think that's actually a pretty good size. Let me adjust the color real quick so that we can see where it's at. Go up to the edit bar, click on your color icon, and then adjust appropriately. Okay, so that actually looks pretty good to me. Even the position of that, I'm gonna keep it as is. I'm gonna go ahead and copy it first, Command copy, or duplicate up here on your edit ribbon and paste. So I did Command copy and it worked, so there's one success so far. All right, so I have them in place. Let me double check what I have above. I think that's pretty good. I might just adjust this a little bit more. There we go. I'm happy with that for now. I'm gonna go ahead and lock that element down as well so that I don't accidentally select it as I'm creating the other layers. All right, let's go refer to our inspiration and see there's a line here, and then it says plop in your logo right there. And you know, that's kind of elementary for Canva, so let's go ahead and do something different. Instead of doing a logo, let's create not an icon, but an image, a real image that's more like an icon. So let's go to uploads. I think I want to put a little cookie there. We could do a cookie, or we could do a coffee mug right here with a bunch of grains in it. But I'm feeling like maybe a biscotti, since I haven't had one already. I'm already 2 coffees in. So let's go ahead and do that. And the way we're gonna do that is find an image. I've already found this one. I've already had it in my library and it's ready to go. So I'm gonna click on that image. And as you can see, it comes out with a background. I don't want the background, I just want the biscotti. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to my left toolbar, and then I'm gonna click on more, or actually, I'm sorry, they changed this recently and they've made it a lot easier to navigate. So instead of doing the more and finding that transparent background option, what you do is you click on your image, make sure it's selected, and then you go up to your edit bar and then go to effects, click on that, and then background remover is what it's called. So background remover. We're gonna click on that and give it some time to remove the background there. Sometimes it takes a while. Aha, perfect. So that looks great. There are some options that you have with Canva Pro, and as you can see on the left, right below the background remover, you can chip it, or you can slice it, or mince it, or torn it, but none of those options are something that'll fit for this specifically. So there we go. Instead of having that circle and a logo, I'm gonna put this biscotti here. Oops. I don't have a mouse, so sometimes it's hard to use the trackpad on my MacBook. So you can also use your keys. and it'll help you be more precise. The only thing is that when you use your keys, you don't have those grid lines that help you. But I think eyeballing that, that's pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and copy it, Command C and Command V to paste. And then move that into the center there as well. Actually, I want it a little bit more out. So that actually looks good to me. I'm gonna go ahead and lock it the way that it is, so that I don't select that on accident. And let me just refer back to my notes to make sure I covered everything for the first layer. And I think I went a little bit above the first layer. So I will stop now. If you have any questions, please let us know and we'll answer that now in the chat box if you have them.
We do have a couple questions.
Okay.
Can your logo fonts be completely different than your 3 chosen fonts?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And you'll see that a lot right now. That what's popular is the calligraphy, and you see all the home decor and all of those inspirational quote posts. They all utilize these different fonts, right? They're utilizing script font and print font and block font all together, and they complement each other very well. I would suggest keeping the 3 main fonts within your documents, and then if you have 3 for your logo, we don't really count that. But again, with the consistency and the brand loyalty, you want to try to be as consistent as possible to develop that brand loyalty.
Okay. And then from Kelly, we have, what if you only wanted the biscotti and not the plate?
That's a great question. So if you only wanted the biscotti and not the plate, what you can do is you can search in photos, which is on the left-hand side on the toolbar there, or you can go down to more, same toolbar, and then click on Pixabay or Pixels. Both are very great apps that are integrated into Canva that'll give you different pictures. So you would just click on the app and then search biscotti, and if it comes up, it does. If not, you know, you don't have to stop there. You can go to Google Images and search Google Images and find one that's going to be easy for the computer to eliminate the background and have just the cookie. So like if I had a white plate on a white table with the biscottis, the chances are of getting just the biscotti is a lot higher than what I just did.
So Diana wants to know if the background removal, if it's a pro feature. It sounds like it's not based on what you just said.
The background of our ad is not, I don't believe that it was a pro image. I had it saved already in my uploads, but I did find it in one of the 2 apps, either Pixabay or Pixels, and I tried desperately this morning to find it and I couldn't find it again. But usually if it's a premium, it'll have an icon on top of it and say the little crown icon, which symbolizes Canva Pro.
Okay, and then Rachel just chimed in to help everyone, so that's great. All right, that's all the questions we have right now.
Okay, perfect. So we will move on to layer 2. And like I said, this is a very, it seems very elementary, right? Because we did a huge flyer last time, but here's the deal. We have music and we have videos that we could embed into this post. And my thoughts are, when I think about coffee, aside from the flavor, I think about piping hot and just that warmth that you feel from the cup. So how can we actually display that in a Facebook post or advertisement? Well, like I said, this is one of the things you have to work around with Canva. They give you the option to do the video, but they don't necessarily give you all of the tools to actually implement a video like Steam into your still photo. So if that makes sense, I'm hoping it does. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play around and let's see if we can find a Steam video that we can use. play around with it, see if I can make it transparent so that it is a still photo, but with some movement aside from the animation we'll put into it as well. So let's see if this works. Let's go to our left-hand side toolbar. We're gonna go to videos and we're gonna search Steam. Okay, so we've got a variety of choices, and if you hover over them, they will show you quickly what it does. So the one I'm hovering over right now won't work because it's a side-to-side Steam and we need just upwards. I think this one actually might work, the one I'm hovering over right now. The Steam is flowing upwards. It's a plain background that we can deal with transparency. So let's go ahead and click that. And so when you click on your template here, you can click pause. If you don't click on it, you can crop it just like an image. I'm gonna go ahead and crop out most of the go. And I want to be the crop. So right now I'm gonna play with that. And then there we go. Also, so you have the ability to crop that's displayed, but you also have the ability to cut your video. So if you wanted it to be shorter, you can come up to your edit bar up here, up top, and click on this scissors icon that has the amount of time that the video is. Just a friendly reminder on Facebook, if you're posting this on Facebook, they require your videos to be 20 seconds long at least. And I, for the life of me, couldn't figure out how to get it on Facebook until I made it 20 seconds long for a video I did for my son, which hopefully I'll show you here pretty soon. Okay, so we've cut and cropped the image. I'm gonna bring it up and drag it to the top of this cup. And I'm waiting for that icon that tells me I can just pick it up and drag it. But of course it's not showing up. So I'm gonna use my keyboard. There we go. Come on. There we go. So that little cross with the arrows is the drag over icon, which is what I was looking for. So I got it, I have it on top of my cup. I'm gonna kind of expand the sides here, holding down and dragging outward. Okay, I think that's good. I'm gonna play with the transparency. So I'm gonna go up to my edit toolbar and then hit on this checkered icon, which is transparency. And I'm gonna try and get it as faint as I can. As faint as I can, so you can't see the lines. And it makes it hard to see because of the outline of the actual video. So I'm gonna click out and see. It needs to be a little bit, it needs to drag up a little bit and then out a little. And then we also need to make it even more transparent. So do that. I'll do it a little bit more. Ooh. Okay, let's see there. That's pretty good. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. So as you can see, if I make this bigger, let me just move this toolbar real quick. If I expand our view here, you can see, obviously, there's a huge square video right in front of this. So what we can do is we can play with the layers, right? So we can hide most of this rectangle by moving it backward. So I'm gonna try and do that first. So we're gonna go up to the edit toolbar, position, and then backward. There we go. So if I click out, you can see it. It's still here. It's behind the two triangles, which is great. And actually you can barely see the outline of it. So I'm gonna click it again, drag it up a little bit, right to the rim of that coffee cup. And you can see a little bit of that line there too, but I think that's pretty close. What I don't like about this is that if you zoom in more, you can see the line going over the coffee pot. And there's actually a workaround for that as well. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out a little bit, maybe a little bit more to 75. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna fix that. As much as I can, I'm gonna diminish that line. And the way to do that is we're gonna go back to my uploads, back to the same picture, okay? Here's the picture, I'm gonna click on it. It's automatically there. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to go up to my effects option on my edit toolbar on top, click on effects, background remover, so that I can get just that picture of the hand and the coffee pot. And you can see, obviously, there are some other elements that came out as well. We can just crop that out. What I'm really looking for is to overlay that coffee pot so you don't see the line from the video over there. So we're gonna go ahead and double click to crop, or you can use the top edit bar for that as well. So I'm gonna get as much as the coffee, just the coffee pot as I can. I think that's, actually, let's see. Yes, I think that's pretty good. Okay, done cropping. I'm gonna expand it. So I'm gonna drag the left corner outward until it's about the same size. I think that's pretty close. I'm gonna use my key, arrow keys to move it into place. Oops. It's a little bit smaller actually. And obviously it takes a little bit of maneuvering to get it right perfect in place so that there's no, so it's seamless. It's pretty close, but not quite happy just yet. Maybe if I make it bigger. Most of the workarounds in Canva are pretty tedious like this. And if all else fails, like it is right now, what I can do is I'm going to delete the image. I'm going to duplicate this page and delete them and copy that background again so I can get the same size. And that way it'll be a little bit easier. Delete all of these elements. It's a little tedious, huh? That didn't go as smoothly as planned, but like I said, there's always, where there's a will, there's a way. And some patience, hopefully. So I'm gonna unlock this background. I'm gonna click Command Copy, Command Paste. There it is. My image is selected. I'm going to, it's funny. Actually, it's not gonna let me do it that way because it's a background. So when it's a background like that, it won't let you do the background eliminator. All right, so let's see here. There it is, I gotta remove the grid. What about that one? Will that work? No. All right. Well, if all else fails like that, let's try again. There we go. Clear image or clear template there. There's the picture. Expand it as much as I can, at least the corners, because we did have the corners correctly.
This is great, Stacy, because this is exactly what we all go through when we're trying to use Canva. So it's great to watch you do this.
I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. Okay, so it should be exactly the same size as far as the width or the height or the length goes, sorry, as far as the length goes. So now we have the picture without the grid, which enables us to actually click on effects. So now, as you can see, the edit bar says effects. We're gonna go there, we're gonna do background removal, and we're gonna pray that it works. There we go. So it did work. We're gonna crop out the rest of the image that we don't need. Crop. Oops. Oh man, Canva is not wanting to participate with me today. Okay, come on. It's not actually letting me crop now. It's letting me move it, but it's not letting me crop. Let's see. Come on. Okay. By God, if I finish this webinar, let's try again. We're gonna have to go with our original plan. I'm gonna this time crop it first. Do it that way. And actually crop it at the spout. See if that works. We're gonna do effects, background remover. Haha, voila. Okay, let's see if we can adjust that a little bit better now. I cropped it at the spout, so that might just be the trick there. It's a little better. We're gonna make this a little bigger. There we go. I'm gonna meet that line right there. Getting closer. Let's expand it just a little bit more. Oops. I'm going to expand our view just a little bit more. Very, very close. Ooh, I think I might just go with that for the sake of time. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's very, very close. You can perfect it even more, but for the sake of time, I think that is actually pretty good for now. So let's go ahead and back out of that and see what it looks like. All right, that's pretty good for now. Okay, so, woo, praise the Lord, we got it done. I'm gonna go ahead and lock that. Now, the reason I did that again is because before we had those multiple layers and the video was on top of the spout, and I didn't want that. So I've put it behind now, and there we go. Woo! Yay. Okay, next we're gonna do a logo. So like I said, I'm pretending I'm an employee from Starbucks. I'm trying to get people into the Madonna location. So I'm gonna do that with coffee and conversation, I think, on a certain day of the week. So let's go ahead and get the Starbucks logo. So Fun fact about Canva is they've integrated this app called Brand Fetch. If you go to Brand Fetch and click on it, you can search whatever brand you want, and you can resize it without it pixelating, which is super awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and do Starbucks. There we go. Okay. So I've got my Starbucks image here. It's loading, a little pixelated. Just give it a moment. It should readjust at some point. Didn't. Let's try again. Okay. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, and then I'm going to drag it down here. So right about there, use the grid lines to help you guide where to place things. There's also something called the rule of the 1/3 rule, where you divide your picture into thirds, both horizontally and vertically, and that'll help you place pictures. It's actually really, really effective. So, okay, so I have my Starbucks symbol. I'm gonna go ahead and lock it down there. And that concludes that second layer of this ad. Does anybody have any questions before we move on?
Yes, Shannon wants to know if you can remove the background from the images you've uploaded, which was similar to the last question. I don't think she got her question answered.
Yes, so you can remove the background, and how you do that is you would upload the image, whether it's uploaded from your computer or you searched an image through Pixabay or Pixels, and then once you click on that image, so here we go, let's say I click on this image, then we have this image here, up here on your edit toolbar, you'll see effects. It does not, however, work, as we've demonstrated clearly, does not work for grids. So if you place a grid down first, I believe the program recognizes it as a background and it won't give you this option for effects. But to remove the background, you just click on effects and do background remover. Do we have any other questions? If not, we'll take a 5-minute break and finish up real quickly. We're almost there.
Okay, let's take our break, and then we have one more question that we'll get to when we get back.
Okay, perfect.
So it's 11:07 now, so we will see everyone at, let's do 12 after.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you.
So Brooke wants to know, will the coffee steam automatically move in the Facebook post, or will viewers have to press an arrow to play the steam?
So it's going to download as a video, but it's a still video because there's only one aspect of the actual video showing. So just for an example, let's go ahead and play it and see what it looks like. And that play button will be on the entire video. So we won't know that this rectangle essentially is just the video. And we'll show that as we get to downloading. But the whole idea is to think outside the box with Canva and figure out how to be a little more creative than those creators out there. And here it is. It took a little bit of time and precision and accuracy, but I think we got it. I mean, if I zoom in here again, we're pretty darn close. So there we go. Did we have any other questions?
We did. So Kelly wants to know, if you're pulling an image from Google, what do you need to be aware of when it comes to photo rights? For example, should you only do this if you're going to remove the background or cover much of the photo with elements? Isn't it better to always pull from the photos offered in Canva to make sure you are using an allowed image?
Absolutely. It is always better to pull from Canva. The other option, what we were doing before, so funny enough, last year when we were doing Canva, they had not integrated Pixabay or Pixels yet. And so we were going from Google images, and then I can actually show you. If you go to Google real quickly, and then we'll go to images, let's say Biscotti, right? And then go to, there's a toolbar up top. you go to more, or actually, I'm sorry, haven't done this in a while. You go to tools, and then you go to usage rights and labeled for reuse of modification. I would highly recommend that you research a little bit about using this feature to make sure we're absolutely safe, but that is how we did it in the past. And then there you go.
Okay. Somebody else wants to know if you can change the speed of the steam.
That's a good question. Let's go ahead and see if that's possible, actually. I don't believe it is. I believe what you could do, well, actually, that would require way too much work. So let's go ahead and test this out here. We've got videos. We've got our steam here. Your option is to crop it or cut it. No, it does not look like we can. So we can adjust the part so, or the whole thing. So they haven't quite caught up just yet on that.
Okay.
Huge,
That's all for questions for now.
Okay, great. So it was a little element that a little more, a little bit more. Just check my saving errors here. All right, we get more animation, and then obviously the font will pull it in. Music. Let's add music. Music would be great. So this last layer, we're going to focus on text, animation, and music. So we said coffee and conversation. I'm going to go ahead and type that into the ad here. If I just click on the key, or I'm sorry, the T key, then the text box will appear. And like I said before, with Canva Pro, it saves all of the texts that you use, but you have to designate that in your brand kit. So it's saved already. I don't have to manipulate this. So I'm going to do coffee in this font. Oops. Coffee in this font. And this is kind of one-dimensional. So I'm going to divvy it up a little bit by overlaying. So that's okay. So I'm going to copy this by, oops, selecting, duplicate on the edit ribbon there. I'm going to take this top layer and give it a different color. I think white. I think white will pop out pretty good, actually. There we go. And you know what? Before I put on that white one, I want another layer. So I'm going to go ahead and paste. Oops. I'm going to go ahead and paste another layer of coffee, like so. And I think I'm going to do a blue for that. Let's see how that looks. And then I overlay it. There we go. There. And obviously this can get as tedious as the other. What you want to do is once you place your first layer, lock it. Once you're happy with that position. Go. I'm going to use my key to be a little bit more precise, but I think that looks good. Put on my last layer there, move it with my mouse, and then use, you know, I don't actually like that. I think I'm going to do the white first, and then the blue. There we go. Blue. Lock that, and then white. Oh, actually, position, and then you go forward. There we go. That pops a little bit more than what I had originally. So I'm going to keep that. I'll lock it in place. We can move it around in a little bit if we need to. And then I'm going to go ahead and do and. So click on the T text or T key. There we go. And then I'm going to use this one actually. For my and sign, I'm going to use another font. I actually have 3 fonts here. Actually, this is the one I was looking for. So we talked about having 3 fonts. And conversation. So I can make the and sign a little bit smaller, move it into position. I think this coffee is gonna have to actually go up, to be honest. I'm gonna move this down, make sure all my elements around it are locked, and then I'm going to select just, select just the coffee. See, that's what happens when you don't lock your elements. You grab the ones that you don't want while you're trying to select your text. There we go. I think I got it. It looks a little bit bigger. Yep. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and do that. It looks like one of these layers is not locked. All right. So do this a little bit faster here. So I'm gonna resize it. There we go. And again, for the purpose of this demonstration, we'll have to do it all over. Okay, so I resized it. That's a better way. Let's do the white and then duplicate again. So we do white. There we go. And then blue. Okay. Get it in place here with the keys and then position it backward. There we go. Oops. All right, so we're gonna add and once again. And I'm gonna change the text here. Oops. Make it smaller. Drag it over. Oops, come on. A little bit smaller. And then we're gonna do conversation. So again, just the letter T and your text box will appear. I'm gonna use my third text, conversation. Oh, and that looks ugly because it's all in caps. Let's see if we can fix that here. My caps lock is on, that's what it is. Oops. Make it a little bit bigger. So we've got 55, we want it, okay. And then we're gonna move it in place and then we're gonna rotate. Move it in place and rotate again. There we go. That looks good. I'm gonna lock that down. Learn from my mistakes here. Perfect. I think actually I want it just a little bit more angled and then we can lock it down. There we go. All right, so coffee and conversation. Like I said before, pretty simple. Let's add some more flair to it. If you go back to your elements and exit out of shapes here, we can go to stickers and we will search words, sticker words. Or there we go, perfect. So our coffee and conversation will be on Saturday. We're gonna click that to get it onto our ad here. I'm going to adjust the size by grabbing the corner and dragging inward. I'm gonna place it into this little ribbon here. Try and get the right angle. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Lock it in place and then finish up with a time. So I'm gonna text T and then, ooh, there's my other and sign. I'm gonna delete that. There we go. We're gonna stick with the same font and then do 10 a.m. Let's see what size it needs to be to look good. I'm gonna rotate it again. And I'm probably gonna do one layer on top of that. Okay, yeah. You can adjust the spacing if you go up to your toolbar and then hit the spacer here. You can adjust the space between the letters and then also the height. Actually, don't want it too much. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and copy that, make this overlay white. There we go. Drag it on top, adjust to fit, group those elements in place, and then location, location, location. And then we're almost done. We have just the location and then the music. So there we go. We've got 10 a.m. and then we're gonna add location. I'm just gonna put, for the sake of time, Madonna site, Madonna site. Hope I spelled that right. Let's see which one looks better actually. I think I might actually go with this new font. Drag it. Boom. I can hear my computer getting louder, making me work so hard. Okay, let's say it's 19. Let's go to 24 and see what that looks like on the site. You know what, just for the sake of aesthetics, I'll do it that way. Make it a little bit bigger. See what that looks like. Like it smaller. Okay. Let's see, how are we doing on time? Pretty good. Actually move that up. Fix this angle. And then add slow to the bottom of it, just so it's a little more balanced. I'm gonna adjust the height, the spacing height for better, there we go. And then adjust this a little bit bigger. And I think I'm okay with that for now. I'm gonna lock that in place. Okay, so now we've added a little bit of, obviously we have multiple layers, but we've added video, we've added the animation sticker, which is always fun. With the question beforehand, is it going to be a post or is it actually a video? It's actually a video even without the video. If you're doing animation, I believe that's true. I believe that's true. But yes, it does. And so just to keep in mind, if you do make it a video, you cannot use things like hyperlinks or QR codes because it's a video, because of the nature of it. So we've got our text, we've got all of our layers, and the one other thing I wanted to add was music. So I'm gonna go to my ribbon on the left, I'm gonna go to music, and then I'm gonna click in classical. Classic, actually classic, let's do classic. And to preview the music, all you have to do is hover over the picture and then hit play. Let me adjust my volume to make sure it doesn't blare in your ears there. It's not quite what I'm looking for. guitar would be nice, actually. Uh-oh, I can hear my computer steaming up. Okay, I think I want to do that one, so let's go ahead and put that there. Double click on it. Actually, I didn't. I'm going to drag it over. Let's try that again. Huh. Let's make sure I have everything. I'm going to pause that. Delete that. Okay. So in theory, you're supposed to be able to drag this on over. I wonder if I have another. I like to duplicate my layers to make sure I need to adjust, I can. So let's see. And it might just be my internet, to be honest, but the whole idea here is that you're able to click and drag over. So let's go ahead and the page, see if that helps, and then we will move on. Oh no. Okay. There we go. Let's try that. So here it is. Drop. There it is. You know what? It probably was there the whole time and I couldn't see it because of the Zoom toolbar, but you can see it here. Actually, let me delete it and make sure it's on the right page. I'm gonna try that again, drop it, and there it goes, it popped right there. And just like a video, you can click on it and then see the edit toolbar up top, edit the parts that you want, cut it, whatever you want, and that's it. So, voila, we did it. And so to view it, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of all of these layers so we can view just that one and see how it came out. Okay. All right, so if we go here to the top right-hand corner, you can see it's 30 seconds long, which is exactly what you need it to be for Facebook. Want it to view it. Let it load. Of course, it's gonna be a lot faster on Facebook and more seamless. Desktop for the purpose of this webinar. It takes up so much energy with Canva. Oh, come on. You know what, Barb? I think what I should do, because my computer is not as fast as it needs to be to actually show what we created, is to post it on our Facebook.
Okay.
Would you be able to do that for me with the email I provided you?
Not during the webinar, no.
Okay.
But I can send a link to it
Okay, great.
afterwards.
Yeah.
We do have a question while we're waiting for that to load. Do you want to do a question?
Absolutely.
Okay. Brooke wants to know, do most people typically listen to Facebook or Instagram with the sound off or the sound on?
Oh, that's a good question. Usually, I think what Facebook defaults it at is without the music. I believe that's what Facebook defaults it as.
Okay.
Yeah. It is, I mean, what we've composed is super cool if you could just see it in action. But unfortunately, my computer, again, cannot handle Zoom and Canva at the same time, apparently. So if all else fails, what we need to look for on Facebook to actually see this? What's the Facebook address or designated area for this post that we're listing? There?
I'm sorry, you're troning just a little bit.
I'm what?
You're troning just a little bit.
Tron-
Yeah.
my computer's probably had its time here. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So what I was asking for our viewers to actually see this live and in action is what do we search on Facebook so that we know?
I can't answer that for you right now.
Okay, you know what we can do? We can email you. We can email you the actual video, and that way you can see it on your computer. I am so sorry for the technical difficulties. I was not expecting that. My brand new computer is not doing me justice right now. But for the sake of time, we're gonna move on. I just wanted to go over and review the actual tips and workarounds we did today. I'm just gonna double check the time. So it's 11:36. We got a little bit of time left. All right. So in its entirety, it's gonna be beautiful. It's amazing. And you don't see a lot of that creativity out there right now, specifically to what we did, where we have a still photo and then one element or portion of that photo moving. There are other cool things you can do with embedding videos as well, and you'll see in our presentation. I wonder real quickly if it would work. I did something for my son because he's a huge fisherman that might work. My last to try and show you what it all looks like, but yeah, you can see the video. It's not gonna work. Sorry, guys. All right, we'll just stick to the presentation, the last few tips that I have for you, and then we will be on our way. All right, so we did use a little bit of this element is text effects and the shadowing and the overlaying of the text with different colors. So I've found that if you use a darker color in the back, it's a great way to actually make your text pop a little bit more. And again, just a quick demonstration. If I duplicate that and grab another color, and then we're gonna move it over, do the same, duplicate that last layer, do another color, a lighter color on top usually works best. This is a little bit of, oops, I think I did. This top layer was supposed to be backwards. There we go. There we go, that's what I was looking for. Maybe a red in the middle. Oops, wrong picture. There we go, duplicate, different color, like that red. And then you get the gist of it. I'm gonna position that backward. There we go. So there's that. So we've worked on text and text effects. Unfortunately, we don't have that option on Canva on its own just yet, but hopefully soon. Canva is very good about listening to their customers and actually implementing those helpful tools into their program. That is one thing that is just phenomenal about them. Okay, so text in gold, that's easy. It's all you do is you use a grid. So if you go to the left-hand side, elements, you go down to grids. Oh, I'm sorry. You go down to frames. So it is a grid technically, but you have frames as well. So you can drop it in a computer or, you know, other shapes. But if you go all the way down, you'll see the alphabet, see numbers as well. And so you would just spell out what you need. And to do a gold or silver effect, you would go to photos and then click gold or silver or whatever shiny effect you want. And what you can do is you will grab it, drag it over those words or those letters, and then it'll pull, there we go. It'll pop right in there. It's fun, it's easy, it's a little more shimmery and glamorous. So that's another trick that I've learned. Another text trick is that you can, again, enhance or embellish your script. So this is the original script. Euphoria script is the font. And in order to get these tails, all you would do is go to Elements, click out of Frames, and look for, I would say curvy line or curve, or, and then you'll find those elements, right? And you would pick the ones you want. If you could do, and you got to play around with your word search because it comes up with different results sometimes. And so you've got these curly lines that you can use, something like this. And then basically what you would do is you would match it up. So you would make, you would adjust the size of the tail, and then it's a lot of tedious work after that, but it comes out nice, it comes out real. And again, to adjust that and to meet the actual text, you would just rotate it until you're satisfied and then drag it, oops. Drag it up, adjust the color, and then you would be done. So adjust the color to black on your toolbar there. And then obviously a little bit of tedious work again, trying to connect it and making it seamless and perfect. So those are a few tricks you can do with text. This one's a big one. Curved text, they have no option for, which is a huge bummer because when you're thinking of logos and you're thinking of icons like Tide that we looked at earlier, they have a logo within there, and actually that wouldn't work. The logos that have curved text, these are big logos, and if you're doing if you are designing brands, what happens is it's more fluid if you can put the text within the circle that you have, or the curved lines that you have, because it's more fluid and it just looks more put together. So you can do curved text in Canva. It is a huge workaround, but as you can see, what I've used to guide me as I do curved text is an arc, or you can do a circle as well and just pull that from Elements, type in arc, and you'll find those images to align your letters. And then again, for this, I will show you quickly. I have a few letters here. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that. And then I'm going to place it here in front. Move it accordingly. Go. Do the same here. And so, I mean, there is an order of operations that you want to obtain to, and that's get your lettering the size you want it first and the color you want it before you start to duplicate and spell out your words, just because it's easier to start with your color and the perfect size. You don't want to mess with that. And then we'll just finish up real quickly here. Oops. Command copy, command paste, We're gonna move this over here. Finish this word. We got an E there. You're gonna curve it and then put it exactly where you want it. And like always, when you are done and you have found the perfect position, perfect color, perfect everything, and you're satisfied with how it looks, group them all by selecting them all. Go up to your edit tab, hit group, and then lock. And that wraps up text. Background, we've also done that background remover. So here's the original on the left, the picture of the woman with the gray background. You can remove that background by selecting the image and then looking up top, effects, and then background remover. And so it's shown right here. We've removed her background. And then also a cool thing you can do is if you have square objects or round objects, like an iPad, for instance, or a coffee cup, for instance, you can actually put a grid on top of it and put a picture on top of that. So she's in the iPad here. You can do those effects as well just by using the background remover and the grid option. Okay, next is the same idea with the background remover. If you can't find a particular icon you want, like when I was doing my stuff for my son's fishing channel, I couldn't find a tackle box icon that I liked. So what I did was I took a picture of it, uploaded it to Canva, and then removed the background. And in this example, I took a picture from Pixabay or Pixel, and then I removed the background, as you can see on the right. And then I added it to my header here of the presentation. So it actually looks like it belongs in the photo, which was a cool element that I thought. I mean, you could add toys in this cubby if you wanted, etc. I mean, there are endless possibilities when you really sit down and think and really exercise your mental capacity for it. The other tip we have is glamifying stickers. So we did use stickers in the demo to glamify it. If you can draw your attention to the left here, when that stride comes over, you'll see stars. So that's just layering the stickers in elements, going to elements, and then going to stickers, finding the appropriate stickers, and then layering them together and making sure they meet to give it just a little bit extra than what Canva gives you the option to do. So layer your stickers to add some glamour and glam. The fourth is video, and we've kind of played around with this in our demonstration. We use the video on top of an actual image to make it look like it was the image, which is pretty cool. I have not seen people do that yet. And then you can also put yourself or an image inside a phone or a picture. My advice to you would be to lock the frame once you're done inputting the picture. So for example, this is not locked. It's a grid for the photo, for any photo. You can do yourself a cutout background without your background, or you can do any plain picture from Pixabay. So if I drag this over, it's nice, right? It's positioned well, it's fine. If I don't lock it and I want to add another, let's say I want to add another photo, it will replace the other photo. So the whole point to this is just to lock your image, because when you drag it over, that won't happen. So I have both layers. I believe I have both layers locked. And then if I drag it, it won't take. So that saves you time and frustration. Textured background was another example that we didn't actually use in the demonstration, but I can show you real quickly. So let's say I have an element like a square, and I want to do sand. You can use sand as an image if you're looking for more of a cartoon type thing. You can play around with that, but just for the purpose of what I'm trying to illustrate here is you can do a solid background and then go to your elements again and click in sand or grain of sand. That's what I did before. Maybe it's actually in pixels. I mean, this will work for that purpose for now. But what you would do is you would layer it over your color, and then there we go. So it gives it some texture without having to use the whole photo. The other option is you can actually go into elements and find grains of sand, or maybe it was photos. It was the whole, like the gold that we found as well. It might be in photos. Yeah, so you can use any of these and make it any color you want. If you wanted to manipulate the color, if you wanted to make it look a little more cartoony and do it that way. I mean, those are all options here. So just as a quick example, go to transparency and manipulate that. And then if I wanted this to be blue, it could be blue and still have the texture. So you can see where that's going. Number 6 is shapes and gradients. I did talk a little bit about this during the demonstration. Squares and circles have more flexibility in the way that you resize them, meaning you can resize by corners and their sides. If you use triangle or a rectangle, it's not adjustable on all sides, on all 4 sides, or all 3 sides. So that goes the same with your photo grids as well. The square is going to be the one that's more manipulative. So if you're trying to look, or if you're trying to implement a photo that is a triangle, whether it's isosceles or whatever, you can do that with a square faster than you can do that with the triangles or ovals or squares provided. And then, yeah, that's what I just went over, the square resize options. As you can see, there's 4, well, there's more options you can do. You can drag from the corners and you can drag from the sides. With the rectangle, there's only 2 options there. 1, 2. Same with triangles. Gradients. So if you go to your elements, there's an option for gradients, and that is actually really trending right now, especially for print ads or social media ads. And Canva does provide gradients for you, such as this. And obviously they're a little bit more worked on, right? You can create your own, excuse me, you can create your own by reshaping, resizing and using different shades of the same color. And to help you with that, Canva has a color wheel for shading. And that can be found under the learning section. If you click on the learning tab and you scroll all the way down, you'll see the color generator, font combination generator, and then also the color wheel. And the color wheel will help you find complementary colors, monochromatic colors, etc. And it defines everything in that one address. Okay, and the other cool workaround for Canva that Canva actually advertises is the stop motion. And I'm only gonna show you just a quick clip of it if it allows me to, obviously. But if I double click on here.
Hi, this is Hadas from I Can Canva in Hebrew, and today I'd like to teach you how you can make a stop motion video. You feel that the strawberry is actually moving. Once I reach the smartphone, I will place it just a little bit over the smartphone, and then I will go to position and place my strawberry backward. So click on crop. Now here's my number 1 tip. It is a little difficult to do this crop method when your object is sideways or in an angle.
So basically, you can do stop motion, and how you do that is you have multiple pages, let's say as the Facebook ad where we were working in earlier. We have multiple pages, but you would move that strawberry just a little to the right each time, and then transforming that strawberry from outside to inside that phone, you would find a tracing of the strawberry or a sketch of the strawberry. And basically, it's a big workaround. Canva has advertised it. It's an amazing thing to see. If people take the time to do it, it is just as tedious as what we were working on today, but the end result is pretty cool. I don't know if I can show you. Let's see. Oh, it actually went through. Well, anyway, you can check that video. We'll send it to you if you want it, but you can also check that on Canva, on the Canva website. It is really cool, the stop motion. It's great, but time consuming. Anyways, I think we've covered about all we can cover today with all of the turbulence that we've had. Thank you so much for hanging on with me and being patient. Yeah, do we have any questions before we end here?
No, that looks like that's it on questions. I'm going to share my screen now. So I want to thank you all for participating today, and thank you, Stacy. Your presentations are always so easy to follow and so artistic. Last month we wanted cupcakes, and now we want biscotti and coffee. If you'd like to continue your learning, we have a webinar this Friday at noon called Creating a Compelling Brand Narrative, and then on July 29th we're offering Nail Your Elevator Pitch, and August 8th we're offering training on government certifications for women-owned businesses. We invite you to visit our website to register. Should you need no-cost one-on-one consulting or entrepreneurial training, we're here for you. Just give us a call. We're happy to see you. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Barb.
Bye.